Assalamu alaikum students. Last time we were talking about hydrocarbons, saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. We discussed saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons briefly. After that, we discussed some of the important structures relating to the hydrocarbons. Like we discussed the electron dot structure of ethane. We discussed the electron dot structure of ethene. We studied the electron dot structure of ethene. So, in this video lecture, I mean to say, in today's video lecture, we are going to discuss some of important structures related to the cyclic hydrocarbons. We have discussed saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons. Now we have one more kind of hydrocarbons, that is cyclic hydrocarbons. Firstly, one must remember that what actually these cyclic hydrocarbons are. In addition to the straight chain hydrocarbons, rather branched chain hydrocarbons, there are some other hydrocarbons in which the carbon atoms are arranged in the form of a ring. For example, this is ring formation, 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 this is ring formation. That means what actually this ring formation is, or what this ring formation is all about. These saturated hydrocarbons, which are actually present in the form of a ring, or the hydrocarbons in which the carbon atoms are arranged in the form of a ring, such hydrocarbons are called as cyclic hydrocarbons. The cyclic hydrocarbons may also be saturated or unsaturated. So, somebody will pose your question. Before discussing these cyclic hydrocarbons, you people must remember that what actually these cyclic hydrocarbons are. These cyclic hydrocarbons, you people should answer in a jiffy at that very time. If somebody will pose your question that what actually these cyclic hydrocarbons are, you people should answer that these cyclic hydrocarbons are actually the special type of hydrocarbons in which the carbon atoms are arranged in the form of a ring, and such ring form hydrocarbons are called as cyclic hydrocarbons. So jot it down, students. These cyclic hydrocarbons may be saturated or unsaturated. What actually these saturated cyclic hydrocarbons are? A saturated cyclic hydrocarbon is a hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are joined in the ring form, but they are formed with each other through single covalent bonds, and we call those particular hydrocarbons as saturated cyclic hydrocarbons. So, for example, let's discuss one of the important structures, that is cyclohexene. Cyclohexane. This is the formula of cyclohexene, that is C6H12. Mark my words, students, jot it down. The general formula, or I can say the molecular formula of the saturated hydrocarbon is one of the brilliant saturated hydrocarbon is C6H12. This is also called as cyclohexane. Hexa is used for 6 carbon atoms, and N is used for carbon-carbon single bond. Carbon single bonds. Mark my words, students. So, cyclic hydrocarbons are actually the hydrocarbons in which the carbon atoms are arranged in the form of a ring. Such hydrocarbons are called as cyclic hydrocarbons. Cyclic hydrocarbons are of two types. One is saturated, another is unsaturated. And as far as these saturated cyclic hydrocarbons are concerned, we have to discuss one important structure, that is C6H12. This is called as cyclohexane. Cyclo means in the form of ring form, and hexa means 6 carbon atoms, and N means carbon-carbon single bonds. Let's discuss this important structure, C6H12, also called as cyclohexane. The formula of cyclohexane is C6H12. So I told you people the formula is C6H12. The structure of cyclohexane is like this. This is one C, another carbon. You will see the ring form. This is another carbon. This is another carbon. This is another carbon. This is another carbon. C6H12 is one carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and sixth carbon. C6. And H12, it contains 12 hydrogen atoms like this. Each carbon contains 2 hydrogen atoms like this. 1, 2. Jot it down, students, with me. H, hydrogen. This contains also 2 hydrogens. 2 hydrogens. This carbon contains 2 hydrogen atoms. This also contains 2 hydrogen atoms. This also contains 2 hydrogen atoms. I don't have space below, that's why I wrote those 2 hydrogen atoms in the upward direction. So the molecular formula of this cyclohexane is C6H12. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 12 hydrogen atoms. 2 plus 2, 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8 plus 2, 10 plus 2, 12. So a molecule of cyclohexane contains 6 carbon atoms arranged in a hexagonal ring. This is a hexagonal ring. Students, look, this hexagonal ring. There's another structure, this cyclohexane. You can see the beautiful picture of the cyclohexane here as well. This is the structure. I just made the structure on this whiteboard as well. So you can see this 6 carbon atoms are arranged in the hexagon. This is a hexagonal arrangement. That's hexagonal ring. Hexa means 6 carbon atoms, with each carbon atom having 2 hydrogen atoms attached to it. You people are seeing this every single carbon. This carbon containing 2 hydrogen atoms. 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 This is carbon containing 2 hydrogen atoms. So a molecule of cyclohexane, you people must remember, students, that a molecule of cyclohexane contains 6 carbon atoms. These 6 carbon atoms arranged in a hexagonal ring, with each carbon atom having 2 hydrogen atoms attached to it. So the bottom line of the story is that the cyclohexane molecule has 6 carbon single bonds. You people just see the carbon 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see here as well. 1 bond, second bond, third bond, fourth bond, fifth bond, sixth bond. So the cyclohexane molecule has 6 carbon single bonds. So somebody will pose you a question, students. This has been asked so many times in the examination, that cyclohexane, how many carbon single bonds are present in the cyclohexane? You people should answer at that very time. There are 6 carbon single bonds and 12 carbon hydrogen single bonds. 6 carbon atoms, and I told you people, every single carbon is having 2 hydrogen atoms attached to it. That means 6 into 2, that means 12. That means 12 carbon hydrogen bonds. So the cyclohexane molecule contains 6 carbon single bonds and 12 carbon 6 carbon single bonds. Mark my words, students. The cyclohexane contains 6 carbon single bonds and 12 carbon hydrogen single bonds. So you people must remember that the cyclohexane contains 6 carbon atoms arranged in a hexagonal ring, with each carbon atom having 2 hydrogen atoms attached to it, and in every single cyclohexane molecule it contains 6 carbon single bonds and 12 carbon hydrogen single bonds. So this was actually the structure of the cyclohexane. So I think this is clear to you now. Cyclohexane, have been categorized in the saturated hydrocarbons. Somebody will pose your question, why this cyclohexane have been categorized in the saturated hydrocarbons? So this cyclohexane have been categorized in saturated hydrocarbons. So somebody will pose you a question that why this cyclohexane that we discussed, this is a beautiful picture of the cyclohexane, why this have been categorized in the saturated cyclic hydrocarbons? Because there you people will see carbon-carbon single bonds, and cyclo means there is a ring, so that's why this cyclohexane have been categorized in cyclic hydrocarbons. So I told you people firstly that these cyclic hydrocarbons are also of two types, that's one is saturated and another is unsaturated. So I would like to mention some more points regarding this cyclohydrocarbons. I can say cyclic hydrocarbons, saturated I mean to say, because we discussed the structure of cyclohexane, that is saturated, because you people are seeing carbon-carbon single bonds or carbon-hydrogen single bonds in the cyclohexane. So the saturated cyclic hydrocarbons are also called as cycloalkanes. Mark my words, students, and jot it down. The saturated cyclic hydrocarbons are also called as cycloalkanes. Cyclohexane is a cycloalkane. Now we discussed the cyclohexane. This cyclohexane is a cycloalkane having 6 carbon atoms in its molecule. I told you firstly that this the molecular formula of the cyclohexane is C6H12. That means I told you people that it contains 6 carbon atoms. So the saturated cyclic hydrocarbons are also called as cycloalkanes, or cyclohexane is a cycloalkane having 6 carbon atoms in its molecule. So but you people must remember that there are some of the cycloalkanes, I mean to say, which contain lesser number of carbon atoms. That means some cycloalkanes are having 3 carbon atoms in the ring. We call those particular I can say alkanes as cyclopropanes. For example, C3H6. This cycloalkane contains 3 carbon atoms in the ring. 3 carbon 3 is also called as prop, and you people are seeing carbon-carbon single bond, that's why it's called as cyclopropane. So C3H6 is also called as cyclopropane. Propane, the formula of propane is C3H6. Why cyclo? Because you people are seeing the ring in the, I can say, this cyclopropane. Cyclo means ring formation. So one more example I would like to add here, that now it's more easy to you now. C4H8 is also called as cyclobutane. Cyclobutane, students. Cyclo means ring formation, means that this cycloalkane having 4 carbon atoms in the ring is called as cyclobutane. So what cyclobutane, students? The cycloalkane having 4 carbon atoms in the ring is called as cyclobutane. So another is C5H10. This is called as cyclopentane. Cyclopentane, students, jot it down, students, with me. Cyclopentane, this is called as cyclopentane. Why this is called as cyclopentane? This is actually the cycloalkane having 5 carbon atoms in the ring. We call this particular I can say cyclic hydrocarbon as cyclopentane. Pent means 5 carbon atoms and N means carbon-carbon single bonds. So you people we can write down the structures of the cyclopropane, cyclobutane and cyclopentane as well. So this is a type of homework for you people. Just made, I can say, the structures of cyclopropane, cyclobutane and cyclopentane yourselves, so that you people will understand what actually these cyclic hydrocarbons are. So this was all about the cyclic hydrocarbon. So let me recapitulate what I discussed with you people, that the nitty-gritty or the bottom line of the story is that in addition to the straight chain hydrocarbon, this is straight and branched chain hydrocarbons, there are some other hydrocarbons in which the carbon atoms are arranged in the form of a ring. Such hydrocarbons, we call those hydrocarbons as cyclohydrocarbons, and these cyclic hydrocarbons are of 2 types. One is saturated and unsaturated So students, we discussed this saturated hydrocarbon, and we discussed one of the brilliant examples, that is C6H12. This is also called as cyclohexane. The structure of the cyclohexane we discussed. So in the next lecture we are going to discuss the unsaturated cyclohydrocarbons. Till then, stay safe, stay at your homes. Allah bless you all. Thank you very much for watching this.